The stock market bounced up in a great way today. In this video, we're going to explain what happened, the important news for the rest of this week, and some awesome setups that we're watching for the next couple days. And at the end of today's video, we actually have a huge options trade totaling $5.3 million that some hedge fund just opened. So stick with us towards the end. But Tom, what's going on in the market today?
Yeah, it's been insane, Mike. A lot of stocks actually popped up and we ended up recovering up very well, as we can see on today's heat map and looking at the market today. SPY popped up a lot in pre-market and held strong as Bank of America posted strong earnings this morning and continued to push some of these bank stocks even higher, like JP Morgan. I think WFC even popped up a little bit today. They did sell off a little bit towards close, but nonetheless, these banks are on fire and it definitely helped the market here, Mike, and it's great to see banks doing pretty well so far, kicking off the earnings season. I know we're going to have a lot of big earnings coming up tomorrow, and SPY actually had a humongous triple top today, Mike, right up here around 368. That is going to be a huge level. You guys can see multiple double tops there. If we end up breaking that tomorrow, I think we could end up seeing a pretty significant push back to the upside, maybe up to 370, Mike. And that was actually a big resistance from Friday. So huge resistance there. Hopefully we could maybe push up to that sometime tomorrow, or maybe even break it, Mike, if we see some of these earnings end up being really good. We're actually going to have some big ones: Goldman Sachs before open, Johnson & Johnson, and Lockheed Martin, plus Netflix tomorrow after close, which I know a lot of people have been talking about today, but a lot of things are going on, Mike. SPY has a lot of key levels here, and hopefully we can start to push up through some of these.
Exactly. So just like you pointed out, the SPY's at a crucial level still. You know, we do have some key resistance levels going forward. Right around that 370 level is pretty big. We had multiple double tops, or you could even say triple tops today, intraday. And then we're also bouncing in a pretty strong way off of that 360 support on the SPY. So we're definitely not in the clear just yet. But what makes me excited for the next couple days are these giant earnings releases. You know, earnings season is ramping back up, and it's ramping up in a quick way. We have Netflix, one of the top or craziest stocks of the entire year, reporting earnings tomorrow in after hours. It's definitely going to be like the most anticipated earnings for the week for me, but I know Tesla is going to be giant on Wednesday after close as well.
Yeah, Tesla's going to be my favorite one to watch, like we talked about yesterday. But yeah, Netflix is going to be coming out tomorrow, Mike. And look at this huge resurgence heading up into earnings. This has been an amazing bullish uptrend here over the past few days. I cannot believe that we ended up as high as we did today, up 6.57% on Netflix. I know a lot of stocks were up. Tesla actually beat it, up 7%. But you can see Tesla over the past week or so has not been near as strong as Netflix. So I'm definitely going to be watching it, Mike. It's going to be a very big stock, and it's up around key resistance right at $250. It actually hit there today, intraday, and started coming back down. I remember, Mike, I actually posted that in the Discord, but you guys can see two huge double tops there. Maybe earnings will finally be the thing Netflix needs, Mike, to maybe push back up through here and start to fill that big gap. If we fill this, you can see, well, if we start to break out here, you can see how big that gap down was. We'll definitely start to fill that a little bit if earnings go well. So that is a huge gap though, Mike. I mean, pretty much from 250 all the way up to 330. I'm not saying we'll fill that all at once, but I could definitely see a good breakout.
Amazing technicals, Tom. Like like you said, we're at such a key resistance level right around 250, and earnings can be the catalyst that pushes Netflix through that. But at the same time, I'm going to say Netflix has one of the widest ranges over the past year. It has highs of 700 and lows of 162. To say this one is volatile is an understatement. So it's going to be wild for Netflix tomorrow. I'm super excited for their earnings report in after hours. What else are you seeing on like the earnings front?
Yeah, so as far as the other earnings go coming out tomorrow, Mike, we obviously have Netflix and after hours, but we have a big one before open, which is Johnson & Johnson. And I actually talked about this a lot this morning, and we got some pretty good day trades actually going off during the live stream today. So if you guys are interested, check out Stocked Up Live on YouTube every day at open. Me and Keisha actually were playing J&J today. We were waiting for a breakout up above 166, and we finally saw that. So we ended up buying a couple J&J calls heading into tomorrow. It is, and it is a pretty risky earnings play, Mike. But J&J had a really big push up today, pretty nice breakouts, and it's setting up very well on the daily. You can see how it's been consolidating a lot down here, and it's definitely down a lot over the past few months. I will say though, guys, J&J is a pretty slow stock, but they are reporting earnings tomorrow. There are some other big ones like Lockheed Martin and Goldman Sachs reporting. I know Goldman Sachs has been all over the place with these banks lately. They haven't done quite as well as some other ones, but they did kind of push up today, although they did fall down Friday.
Gotcha. One stock I'm really eyeing for the rest of this week is Boeing. Boeing is in the middle of a gigantic double bottom off that $120 support level, and it's been really strong lately, even with the market relatively weak. The market was pretty bad, for a lot of last week, but Boeing held up strong. And look at that key area for that double bottom right around 120. Thanks for circling it, Tom, but you could see that's been a key level over the past years, and it looks like we're holding that level strong, and Boeing is just relatively strong right now. It's just, there's no other better way to say it. It's looking strong. I'm looking at it for potential play to the upside, and realistically, it's still towards the lower end of that range. The higher end of the range is back up around 170. So it's like there's a lot of room for this one to run, and it's definitely on my radar.
Yeah, mine too. It's definitely one of those stocks that can get volatile, Mike. And I know that when I look at Boeing, I've been really watching it lately as it's been getting closer and closer to that pre-COVID low, but I'm glad to see it bouncing at 120. Maybe we'll see on a longer term basis a little bit of like a lower high going on. Hopefully we don't get back down around $100. That would be crazy, but yeah, they definitely have a nice uptrend going on, Mike, especially short term too. I feel like we've been seeing some pretty nice breakouts, and intraday, nice double top at 137. So great play there. And another big one, Mike, for tomorrow that I am watching is CCJ. I know actually you've been watching this a lot lately as well, but they've recently had a huge gap to the downside, and they're starting to get a little bit of momentum coming back up, especially as all these other stocks pushed up today. They had a nice 6.39%, almost 6.4% jump there. And they also have a bit of like a double or triple top going on over the past few weeks, right around $23. So if I see a big breakout somewhere right around 23, I'm definitely going to be watching for a nice push up with CCJ, especially considering that breakdown, Mike. That's a big gap. And I think we could start to fill that, especially with all the bullish momentum in the market.
There we go. I love CCJ, especially for the long term too. So I'll keep it on my radar for the short term. One other stock I was really watching is Square. So Square has been all over the place over the past couple years with highs all the way up to like $290 a share. And its lows of the past couple years are actually from Friday, right around $51 a share, but it blasted up today around 8.5%. To me, it looks like Square is kind of bottoming off, or at least like decelerating the downtrend that it was in. And to look at Square on the chart, it's up 8.5% today, but it does not look like an 8.5% move on the chart, which I like, because it's like the stock's up 8.5%, and look how much more it can actually pop up. It's still relatively low, right around $56, and even looking at some short-term resistance levels, they're not even until the big one's closer to like 70, maybe 80. So like it has room to run. It has a long history of having solid volatile moves. And when it's this low, it's like, how can you not have it on the watch list?
Yeah, exactly, Mike. It's extremely low, very oversold, and a ton of bounces have been starting to happen on Square over the past few days. Like you said, right around that support, pretty close to 50 and then 52 there on the 5-minute chart, but really looking pretty solid. And I know that a lot of stocks are starting to point back up. And if we start to see some more tech stocks move, Square should be one of those stocks that will end up recovering up with a lot of these other stocks. So hopefully the rest of the market can help it. And like you said, Mike, big day, 8.56%, but really, like you also said, no movement. So a lot of potential here. And I really think that for the next year to 2 years, Square will end up being a pretty good one. I'm not saying it's going to get back all the way up to 280, but I could definitely see a pretty good recovery. I would think up to around the 140 resistance eventually, but that might even take a long time.
Yeah, with time, but I'm with you. I can see it.
Yeah, that would be a pretty big jump. I mean, it's at $55 now. a 140 would almost be a triple on the stock. I mean, the high is at 150 there. So yeah, definitely crazy. But I know Square does have a lot of volatility, and I think it could go up, especially with Jack Dorsey at the helm. He's been pretty good, and I know he has a lot of stuff planned for the metaverse and a lot of stuff with crypto. So hopefully that can help him out, especially when crypto starts going back up. I think Square will do a lot better.
Yeah, and when we say like around 140, that's more of a longer term price target, guys. So please keep that in mind.
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
that could be 2 to 5 years even. It may be even longer at this point. I mean, some of these growth stocks have just fallen down so much.
Exactly, exactly. So, Tom, what else is on your radar?
Yeah, so looking for tomorrow, Mike. I know a lot of people have been looking at China stocks lately. Baba did pretty well today. Some of these China stocks did okay. There is actually a delay on the China GDP numbers. I know some people were looking at this. It was set to come out tomorrow morning, but apparently they're delaying it indefinitely, which is a little bit worrisome. But it might be a good thing actually. Those numbers might have came in pretty negative. I know China still had a lot of COVID lockdowns and stuff like that went on this year. So that might have hit their GDP a little bit more. So I'm honestly glad, Mike, that they delayed these. Maybe that'll be good for the markets. And like I said, those numbers might have been bad with all those delays and stuff going on. So I'm glad it happened, and the SPY's still setting up well for tomorrow. So at least we don't have to worry about that now.
Could you just imagine if the US was like, we're not ready to release the GDP data. We'll just delay it indefinitely.
Oh man, I couldn't imagine the backlash. I bet China would even say something about it if we did that.
True. Alrighty. So, Tom, let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have Roblox to the upside.
Mike, this play was insane today, up 19.83%. What a jump with a high of day right around 43.66 and 43.50. If we can break out above that 43.66 resistance, go ahead and look for some calls tomorrow. That is a pretty big level, Mike. And what a day by Roblox. Definitely look for a multi-day run out of this one.
Alrighty, then with the next one, we have Chewy, also to the upside.
CHWY. Love to see that one, Mike. I almost double topping here, actually, right at this resistance by 36.50. Go ahead and make them break out above 36.80, though, which is that high of day right at the end.
Awesome. And then we have Baba, also to the upside.
Baba, yeah, the China stocks. Those China stocks actually popped up a little bit today, despite that weird GDP news. Maybe that's good for them, though. Actually, right at a huge resistance, Mike, at 78. If they break that, watch for a possible move back up. I know Baba, though, is pretty volatile. So if we do see that breakout, who knows? It might end up popping quite a bit.
Yep. So we are watching Baba, Chewy, and Roblox for potential day trades to the upside tomorrow, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. But Tom, it is now time for the $5.3 million options trade. So I was looking through a lot of order flow today, and the ticker is XLV. So this is actually a healthcare ETF, right? $5.3 million went into the June 16th of 2023 125 strike call options. And as I'm looking at this play here, the healthcare industry has held up so much better than the normal market and a lot of other just groups in the market this year. And I know that inflation has been especially rising in the healthcare industry lately. So, when you look at the healthcare stocks like UNH or Johnson & Johnson or AbbVie, like ABBV, they're holding up very well. And whether we're in a recession or we're not in a recession, healthcare doesn't really it's not like healthcare is just going to stop, if we go into recession. Like no matter what happens, people need it. And that's just how it is, So when I see $5.3 million going into an at the money call with some decent time, it's an opening position. It's tempting, and just like you mentioned earlier today, Tom, Johnson & Johnson was looking good. So, consider it, guys.
Yeah, definitely. And even XLV, the ETF, has a pretty good support here, right around 120 to 124. Pretty good little range down there at the bottom. And it looks like it's bouncing very well there. So who knows, Mike? We could end up seeing a pretty good move up. And I really liked your, I don't know what you call it, I guess like an analogy, how you talked about, obviously, whenever the economy does bad, people still need healthcare, obviously. So that's not going to go anywhere. And I'm sure inflation and all these shortages just make things cost even more. So yeah, I know that sucks to say, guys. I know healthcare is a tricky subject, but it's a cash cow, Mike. And as we all know, the healthcare industry is one of the biggest ones out there.
You know it. And guys, if you're looking for daily options alerts, check out the first link in the description and the comments down below. Our options bot called out the BABA 76 strike calls today at $250 each, and they popped all the way up to $305 each within just a couple hours. If you want to try it out, you'll get daily options alerts from our bot. Tom and I post plays. We also have swing plays. We have a bunch of custom bots you won't find anywhere else. You can network with Tom, myself, and many other great traders all day long. And in the worst case scenario, you can cancel at any time. We also have an automatic discount running, so you'll save $41 off your first month. Definitely check it out. It's pretty awesome, and our bots do a great job. Tom, I also want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Robin, in the StockedUp Discord chat. Thank you so much for all of your positive comments, and you've been in the chat for over 2 years now, so definitely keep up that activity. Tom, looking forward for this week, I'm very excited about the market. We have some huge earnings coming up. There's going to be a lot of crazy moves. And hey, you know, the stock market's bouncing right now, so I can't complain.
Yeah, it really is. This setup at the end of day was pretty bullish, and hopefully these earnings in the morning can help push us even higher. Hopefully Goldman reports good numbers just like Bank of America did today. Same with Johnson & Johnson and Lockheed Martin. Shout out to Keisha for the Johnson & Johnson play this morning. I wouldn't have found it without her. So that was pretty cool to find, but nonetheless, that was a pretty nice breakout. So hopefully you guys can take some good advantage. I know, Mike, we had a lot of great intraday setups and a lot of technical plays today. If you guys enjoy that, let us know in the comments down below. We're trying out a lot of new plays, a lot more activity on the charts and stuff like that. So just let us know if you guys are liking it. I think you guys will. And hey, definitely a lot of plays, Mike. And a lot of these have a lot of potential here this week.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of opportunity going into the market for this week. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We have brand new videos every single day, and we're excited for the market over the next couple weeks and months because there's just so much opportunity with stocks at the levels that they're at. You know, it's going to be an awesome end to the year. I'm very excited for it. And guys, like I said, if you're looking for daily options alerts, check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. Besides that, let's have an awesome week.